dudes? We have another deck profile here, and we're going to be showcasing Martin's spicy deck. What deck is it, Martin?
It's an old leader, but it got a reboot. Beerus.
Beerus. Dang, I'm hyped for this one. All right, so why Beerus, Martin?
Okay, so this idea was not even from me. This was in part Jeff's idea. He's recording over there. He's like, you have most of the blue cards. Why not try to make this leader work? If you kill someone at 16, it'd be pretty funny, right? I was thinking, okay, why not? I've already spent the money for it, so it's like, let's try to make this deck work. And funny enough, it actually works pretty well. But that's the entire reasoning why we even chose this leader in the first place. I like to make fun decks.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's see what you got.
So Beerus leader, this got the revamp. So for those of you who don't know, when this card swings at a leader, you can either draw a card or pop a 2 or less. It does the same thing on this side, so you choose one or the other. The only thing they changed here is that you don't have to be at 4 or less. You can be at 4 or more energy to actually awaken.
Oh, so you could awaken pretty quick then.
Yeah, there's a few cards, and I'll show you. And then here is if you actually deal damage when your opponent is at 4 or less life, you can ramp an energy from your drop area.
Okay,
so
cool.
It can come in handy, but that's not the best ability. The 16, if it ever gets to it.
Okay.
So the actual cards, we'll lay it out a little bit differently today. So we play 4 of the Wiis. I believe this came out in Anniversary. It's just a draw card, pay 2, and you can actually put it to your energy. So turn 2.
It's a nice ramp.
Yeah, turn 2, you can actually get to 3 energy. And I'll show you this, it's actually not that bad if you're playing against an aggro deck, if you have one card specifically. Another card that'll get you there as well is the 2-drop Majin. This is kind of like energy, but it's not really, because it's just a substitute for it. It has barrier, so most of the time it's gonna stick.
Okay.
And it's an alternative. You probably want to play this first before this, but again, it just depends on the game that you're playing. And since you are playing, this leader, you want to try to get to your 16 as close as possible. This is a ridiculous negate. Every time your opponent attacks after this card's been played, your opponent has to burn an energy.
Burn an energy. Yeah. Wow.
It has blocker too.
And blocker. Okay. Yeah. So if they try to attack you, then they're gonna lose all their energy pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, you have pretty defensive cards, so worst case scenario, this doesn't eat up an attack, but they still burn an energy.
Yeah, and this card's live turn 3, right?
Yeah, because you do ramp so quickly, you can play this turn 3, right? Because you'd have 4 energy by your turn 3. Same thing with this. Even though you'd have 3 actual energy in one of these, you can still play them.
Yeah.
So it just really depends on when you want to do it or how you want to do it.
Just see a Wiis or a Kai turn 1 or turn 2, and then you have that card live turn 3.
Yeah, and then a Booney, I think it's just a blue staple.
It's a blue staple.
Yeah, it's just good in general. You don't always have to play, but it clears stuff up, so it's not a bad card to still have. Now, to get into the more spicy thing, it's like, how in the world do we try to stall this card? Ooh. So I'm just gonna give this shout out right now. When I saw Kevin, team captain over here, playing this card in one of his decks, I think it's like the SS4 Vegeta / Janemba. This card actually surprised me with how good this thing is. So for those of you who don't know, when this comes into play, your opponent has to get rid of a battle card with a cost of 2 or higher, I believe, right?
Yeah.
If they want to attack with a battle card, they can still swing with their leader or Unison. But the thing is, if your opponent has a full board, it has a -2 ability where you can just bounce everything ignoring barrier.
Ignoring barrier, that's huge.
Or the other one is the -1. You can draw 2 cards and then put one to the bottom of the deck. Yeah. And it actually has a pretty cool combo with some other cards that I'll show you later on. Yeah. So this is the only Unison. Card. Yeah, this is the only Unison we're playing here.
And you don't think you need any other small Unisons, maybe like Zeno or the baby Trunks Unison?
They're not bad. I tried Zeno earlier today. It just seems a little bit redundant because you do play cards that ramp as well.
Yeah.
So it's just more like you're ramping energy for what? I mean, you're trying to go up, but Zeno kind of gives you even more the same. So it's not progressing you that much further anyways.
Okay.
And then ramping. This card, I believe this came out in set 11? Yeah. So pretty much play for 6. It's a blocker. You can ramp up to, if it's 4 blue, you can put them to your energy or draw them. You most likely will put them to your energy because you're still trying to get to your 16. Yeah. Or that's the goal.
Dang, 4 energy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So there's that. Adds a blocker that restats, so it's a 30k swing.
Such a good card. And this is a mono blue deck, right? So you won't miss with that ability?
You won't, thankfully. There was times when we modified that a bit. The 7-drop. So this is, I'm gonna call this a secret rare because it's just that done.
This card's powerful.
Yeah, has deflect too.
Yeah, crit, deflect. Wow.
So you can do, I'll just show you the cool play right now. You can bounce your opponent's board, right, on the previous turn. The turn that you're gonna play this, you can bounce it again and you can just shuffle everything back.
And they have nothing.
And they got nothing.
They have no drop, they have no hand, and then you have this 30k beats it crit. Not to mention what else you have on board too.
Also, if it manages to survive, because it does have 5 counters, if it manages to survive, you can still swing with this and still do the -1 to draw 2, put 1 at the bottom. So you're not gonna have no cards. You're gonna have something at least. So this is one of the secret rares. Now, the other one is if we ever get there, which is not very uncommon, is the 12-drop Whis. This is all the way from set 1, and I believe this is the only leader this works with.
Blast from the past, yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, this dude has quad strike. Actually his skills cannot be negated, or his attack can't be negated. You can still block, but that's not really a problem when you can bounce.
Yeah.
So
you get an extra, that's the big thing. You get an extra turn.
Exactly. And the biggest thing too, you can kill your opponent from 5 energy, or from 5 life, excuse me. Because you can still hit him with this the following turn, your next turn, and you can just hit him with the crit and then the quad.
Dang, that's dirty.
Or if you really want to, you can just go play one, play the other, right?
Yeah, it looks like you have a lot of different ways to win the game.
Yeah.
Even by the leader by itself, by tapping 16 energy, you have all these different boss cards that just win games by themselves.
Yeah, so I call this another secret rare. I think it's just that good if you get there. And it usually should win you the game the following turn. Trying to defend this is not easy. 40k.
Oh, I'm sure you win the game once that hits the board.
You'd hope. And yeah, like I said, thanks to Jeff for even showing me this card again, because I forgot you could do that. And then the one actual secret rare.
Oh yeah, this one will definitely like buy you a turn.
It'll ask your opponent just to stop, leave it alone, and then just continue afterwards. Yeah. So it's just good for any mono blue leader.
And it works turn 2, as early as turn 2 because of the Whis, right?
Because of this, yeah.
Because the Hatchak needs 3 energy, and then Whis ramps you an energy turn 2.
Exactly. So if you're playing against an aggro deck, if I think Vegex, for example, you would have to have this, of course, but at least you're not dead in the water, like just immediately. You can ramp to 3 and still have this as something available to you. And you're not entirely, I guess, in a terrible position, because the following turn, you're gonna have 4 energy to do this. Yes, they can push through it, of course, but they're gonna start burning energy. They don't always rely on it, but it makes them reconsider.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so that's it for, I guess, the main battle cards. You can't forget about the super combos.
Yeah, prefer these because it's mono blue and doesn't conflict with the Vegeta 6-drop. Because I know you could play a Hellas. That was the OG one that people used to play.
And mainly it's because if you do play this and you do hit this and you need it for energy, you can. Otherwise, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
There's these cards as well because you are playing a Unison. This card is something that I'm considering maybe changing right now. Just because you don't have the early Unison like a Zeno to really back it up and take advantage of it early. But if you play a deck like Dark Broly or something where you're gonna ramp, this is still gonna hurt them to an extent. So
yeah.
It's not terrible. It's not the best, not the worst. It's okay. And this card I think is just dumb. It's just a counterplay.
Yeah, it's the best counterplay.
Yeah. So I think that rounds out all the battle cards. And then from here we just have extra cards. Staple.
D-Magic Staple, yep.
And then Staple here with the Sensu Bean as well. And then this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. We're playing this again. Shout out to Kevin Castillo for showing me this card. I wasn't even considering it, but it's mainly you can use this as a form to attack because you can still draw a card and it goes to 15k also. And since your energy is blue, you're gonna get that ability. Or if you need to defend, it goes to 15k also.
Yeah,
and you want to.
It's one of the best defense cards for blue.
Yeah, so it's not so bad. And then the last extra card is Intersecting Fates. So again, this is from Kevin as well. I wasn't considering it beforehand, but you can filter through your deck. It's a 50 card deck, unlike my 60 card previous one, promise. But you can still play this when you're at 4 energy because you kind of want to leave yourself open for this negate attack. Right? You want to leave it to
this
that.
deck relies on that negate.
Yeah, so you can kind of filter through your cards. Or if you're missing a piece, because if you notice, you kind of go up like a chain almost. You go from your, your 4, your 5 to your 6, 7, 12. It kind of has a, the progression you want to go in, and it'll kind of help you if you're missing any pieces. And it untaps, so it's not going to mess with the rest of your plays.
Yeah, such a good card. A lot of blue decks should just be playing this card because it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a free card. You filter and you get to move along. But yeah, that's it for the actual deck. Actually, the last one, Magikarp tokens. If you ever summon a Booney, just make sure you get your Magikarp tokens. Thank you, Kevin.
Best tokens.
Exactly.
Awesome. Any shout outs, Martin, before we end the video?
Shout out. I've been shouting them out throughout the video. Kevin, Jeff, for helping me out with this deck as well. I just took their advice, their ideas, and kind of slowly started changing them a little bit more. There's some editing that I'm still going to make. One of the biggest ones is probably taking this out, as crazy as it sounds. But it's just more room to really mess around with. Of course, shout out to the Doods team that, you hardly see me play, but we're still here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Martin, for the deck profile. The deck looks really spicy, and if anyone has any suggestions or any Beerus fans or players, go ahead and put some spicy combos in the comments section below. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Later, dudes.